same thing with multiplication and division. So again, I've put up the multiplication property of equality and the division property of equality so that you can see these equivalent equations. So if I multiply both sides of the equation, A equals B, by the same value, C, it becomes equivalent equations. Same thing applies if I'm dividing the equation by the exact same value. Okay, this is why we are able to solve the equations the way that we do. So let's look at this example. So I have negative n divided by 5 equals negative 3. So again, my goal is to isolate the variable n by doing an inverse operation. Well, this 5 in the denominator means that I'm dividing the variable n by 5. So the opposite of division is multiplication. Now I also have this negative value. I want to address that at the same time. So instead of just multiplying by 5, I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by negative 5. On the left-hand side, what this will simplify to is 5 times n divided by 5. The negative times the negative cancels to a positive. Not cancels, but negative times a negative gives me a positive value. On the right-hand side, I have negative 3 times negative 5, which simplifies to positive 15. Now, you may not need this intermediary step where you've got the 5 times n divided by 5. Maybe you can go to this next line where I write n equals 15. And the reason I can say this, 5 divided by 5 is simply just 1. Now, we do want to check our answers here. So I'm going to plug in 15 for n. So negative 15 divided by 5. Let's see if that equals negative 3. Well, 5 goes into 15 3 times, so in fact, I am correct. I've checked my answer, so I can now box my solution. Remember, we are doing all of this to justify, support our answers. You don't always have to show that you are checking your work, but it is good practice. All right, part B. Oh my goodness, this has something different. It has the pi symbol. Well, folks, pi is just a number. So in order to isolate my variable x, I need to do the opposite operation of multiplying times pi. Hopefully you guessed that that was dividing by pi. Left-hand side leaves me with x. Right-hand side leaves me with negative 2. Again, I want to double check my work. So negative 2 times x equals, oh, my apologies. Let's try that again. Negative 2 times pi. Oh my goodness. Let me just start that over. My apologies. I got ahead of myself. Pi times negative 2 equals negative 2 times pi. So I've checked my work. They equal the same thing. So x equals negative 2. One last one before I have you pause the video and do some on your own. I have 1.3 times z equals 5.2. So opposite of multiplication is to divide. So I'm dividing both sides of my equation by 1.3. So on the left-hand side of my equation, it's going to simplify to just z. And 5.2 divided by 1.3 is 4. I quickly used a calculator. Now let's double check our work. 1.3 times 4 must equal 5.2 for us to have done this correctly. So 1.3 times 4 does in fact equal 5.2. So we've done this correctly.